Hello, Racer. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Emali?
I'm good as well. Thank you so much. I'm here today to interview Ray Mehra. He was a graduate from University of Roorkee back then, 1964, for mechanical engineering. And you arrived in United States when, Racer?
In 1964.
1964. Wow. And since then, you have been engaged in so many endeavors, and the last one being R squared. Before that, you were into a manufacturing business, and before that, you were in another manufacturing business. It seems like there's just one company after other you have been establishing here since 1964. That's quite an impressive journey here in the United States for you.
Well, I've enjoyed the journey. I've enjoyed my life in United States. The country is, as you know, it's amazing. It is a melting pot, absorbs people, gives them opportunity. And I think everybody who's willing to give it all honestly and diligently uh, is able to succeed here. So my story is not a whole lot different than many other immigrants who come and given their full effort. So I'm very pleased. Um, so go ahead. I mean, I'm proud of my Roorkee heritage,
Yes.
proud of my Indian heritage.
No, so everyone, I want to hear it. Like how, when you first came here in 1964, how was it like? There weren't that many Indians in the country, in United States. I'm sure you all were building a sort of a profile or building reputation for us, but that would have been a really hard time to establish yourself and then go about building all these businesses. So I really would like to hear your journey. How did it all start?
Excellent. As many other graduates of that time, whether it's IIT Roorkee or Roorkee University and the others, uh, most of us came for education to get our master's degree or PhD and so on, and decided to get a period of training before going back to India. And that seems to be still the common pattern, 18 months, 2 years of training after grad school, and then you either get absorbed into the system here or you go back. And in those days, I guess at least even 10, 15 years ago, there were almost 20% of the IIT graduates coming to USA. And I believe that numbers dropped considerably now to maybe 5, 6%. I may be incorrect, but those are the rough numbers being quoted because there are a lot more opportunities in India. Um, my journey actually began much sooner than Roorkee or coming here. I believe that many of us will agree that your childhood education and training is the foundation. And I believe my journey began like in second, third grade. I was in a private co-ed school and I was recognized as the topper in my class in third grade. And so what happens is then the yoke is on your shoulders. You have to live up to a standard of expectations. Your parents, your friends, your circle of people. So winning is demanding, but it's a lot of fun. And there are bumps that make you stronger or knock you down. So that's my journey began quite early. I was very pleased to have English-based education at that time. We were believe me, we were refugees. My parents, and therefore it wasn't a simple journey for them or for me or any of us at that time. And there were struggles for them and struggles for us. We had to make do. So you learn to enjoy what you have, work hard at it, and try to shine. So taking from there on, fast forward to high school. Delhi Polytechnic had a technical higher secondary school in Delhi. and you had to compete. And at that level of just entering in high school, ninth grade, there were thousands of people who wrote the test, and only 60 got selected. So you become used to competing. You become used to being in the very high top percentile. And from there on, the next big competition was for the IIT. You write up your exams. That's a joint JTI or whatever it's called these days. So I had the opportunity at that time to go to IIT Bombay, which was beginning, just early stage, or come to Roorkee. And my parents are afraid that I would become an actor or director if I went to Bombay. So they insisted on being somewhere close to home. And that's why we chose Roorkee. And I'm proud of that choice. And I tell people that today, that I rejected IIT Bombay to go to Roorkee. The journey thereafter, grad school, again, every stage tests your mettle, your backbone. So coming here on Indian currency from my parents, although I was able to do some grad assistantship, paper grading, and those kind of things, you're very conscious of your resources. So I managed to finish grad school in 2 semesters, which was sort of a very, it's a hard life to do full 20 hours or 5 courses at a time and 2 semesters. So we finished. And I never saw any of my graduations, whether it's from Roorkee or whether it's from the university here. I went to University of Illinois in Urbana, which, by the way, in engineering, it's one of the top public schools in the country. So finishing grad school, immediately got absorbed in the job market. And I was very pleased to see, I didn't feel any different that I'm an Indian or a white American or Italian or French or whatever. And I hung out with whoever was there. My first job was near Champaign in Springfield, Illinois. And there were probably total of 3 families, Indian families there. And as a result, you are forced to, your natural choice is mingle with everybody, which I think I was blessed at that time to, instead of being colonial and, colloquial and just staying with the Indian community, I learned to adjust. And as an example, at Champaign, Urbana, I got there maybe a few days sooner. So I went and got a quick voluntary work at the YMCA. Now you're answering the phone, you're helping customers. So it was a quick lesson in American English and breaking down your accent and being more understandable. And I'm just giving you examples of how little barriers prepare one for the journey. So that became another asset, to be able to communicate fluently, clearly, understanding the American English and from get-go. And I had an apartment, the landlady loved me, and the kids around there loved me. So it was a fun life from get-go. And then moving forward, the job in Springfield, again, this was a multinational company called Allis-Chalmers. They made tractors, and you go through life and progressing and gradually getting higher responsibility. And so that prepared me for other than engineering, the general business aspects of life. I was in materials management, which is production control, and before that in quality control. So multidisciplinary experience again helps you prepare for general management or running businesses. So that became just, these are fortuitous things and little choices you make along the journey. And so moving from there on, I became an IT manager for a data service center of those days. And moving forward, I came to Sunbeam, which was a fairly long career, coming in as a production control manager, and to a general manager and to a president of the company of a group of companies, which became Health and Comfort Products Group for Sunbeam. And again, at every step, if you screen out the noise around you, I believe, you screen out the negative factors. The negative factor might have been, these are, white local managers I'm competing against, and I'm a short, dark guy, brown guy from another country. I'm a foreigner. You kind of rule those negatives out of your mind. It's like an epidural. You block them and don't think about them. It becomes a winning tool for you. Again, I'm giving you this as I reflect back on what happened and how. So whether I'm mingling with local people who were, doing their colonel's duty on the weekend and working with me at the company during the daytime, or whether it's, people from the factory floor management who invite me out, say, hey, let's go, water skiing. Well, I didn't know anything about water skiing, but I jump in with them and I learn. Yeah. So people learn to admire you for your ability to get to their level, communicate, and appreciate them. Yeah. So it's been a life of appreciating many, many simple things here. You learn their sports here. You go bowling, you go water skiing, and things we had never heard of back in India at that time, as well as you learn to do the best you can at work and be honest. Yeah. So there comes recognition with that. Mm-hmm. So on to Sunbeam, becoming a group president. And then I believe what happened there, the company was going to be sold. And myself, as one of the group presidents, and a few others in the other groups, were bidders to buy the company.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And we were competing with some people, Wall Street people, who had control of the bonds. And as a result, in court hearings, we lost out, which is fine. Again, I didn't get to be the owner, and went on to another company to run another group of control company, okay, which was eventually acquired by Corning. And again, this was another experience where you are a group president, you're a public official, you're a highlight, and you get stock options, you get the perks and the fun. You get the taste of maybe a different level of living. Mm-hmm. You start to become accustomed. Mm-hmm. And you start to work harder for it. I remember a bunch of our group presidents I believe that's rolling back to Sunbeam, who went through high-level management training that was run by a group of people who used to also train GE executives. And somebody told me, I looked at my file later, and there were notes saying, never lose this guy. He is the future chairman. Oh, wow. I said, wow, he's going to run this. So it's people realize what you are, and this is the breaking of the glass ceiling. I believe the things I preceded to tell you before here are are the factors that help us break the glass ceiling. So from there on, Corning days, the company got acquired by Corning. We had really great performance records, taking the company from most of the time I would take a company over its break even or making little money to making really great money. So people start to know you and see you as a person who can turn around companies. And so that's been, again, a kind of a hallmark, a turnaround guy, and people know you. And so today, if I go to look for a company or look for a banker to finance my company, they know, okay, this guy, they've dealt with you before, they know your bios, they know he's able to turn around and make things grow.
Yeah.
So you take on a role that fits your profile, your abilities, max leverage your positive skills. So this became, from there on came the opportunity to buy business. I'll tell you a little interesting thing there. The first business I bought had nothing to do with what I was doing in manufacturing life, running businesses, group president, all of that. I had bought a piece of real estate in Aspen, Colorado.
Okay.
For a paltry sum of $20,000 from my savings, and borrowed the rest, and which is worth today several $1 million.
Yeah.
And I went to that town, bought a property, a real estate management company, because we had bought property I had bought. With that, I began acquiring the role of managing these multi-million-dollar properties. So I bought another property management company. We merged it together. I said, okay, I'm an Aspen, Colorado ski bum now, and I'm running a business. So that was my first acquisition. It totally non-related to my engineering career or manufacturing. And then again, you learned, I sold that in several years for a really good profit. And the guy who I sold to is managing my properties now there. But meanwhile, the opportunity came to buy manufacturing company here in Illinois. So that became the career path. You never want to look back and go back to corporate life after that, because you got the taste of being independent and running the show, running the payroll, going through all the ups and downs. So again, one of the manufacturing companies bought here, that with that you buy other bolt-ons, we call, which is other entities that fit with it, synergistic buys. And they are usually, you're able to eliminate a lot of overhead when you do a synergistic buy of a similar company. And we did that and bolted on several companies. And again, a buyer came, offered me beyond what I had expected. We sold out. So then on to the next one, because one company bought and had 4 different acquisitions from that were bolted on, merged into it to make another larger company to sell. So while we are still running that company before selling, somebody else who knew me as a turnaround guy in the friend circle, his friend who was within a multinational company or by a European company, they were selling their division here. They sought me out. We bought that company again, took it from break even to making millions of dollars. And it became probably one of our better acquisitions soon. So I don't want to be belaboring that it's such a great thing that I did but it's a road you're on, and it's the type of journey you get used to traveling, the type of tools you get used to having in your toolbox, and working to change a culture.
Mhm.
And I have to tell you that one of the common traits among many turnarounds I did was that companies that are broken have a culture of tolerating, accepting bad production, bad parts, bad performance. So every one of these companies that I bought or merged or fixed or turned around had a history of having those kind of quality issues. And in
Okay.
my earlier years at Alice Chalmers, I worked with some of the greatest quality gurus, a guy named Dorian Sheehan from Boston and a few others. So that culture of solving quality problems, even to this day, the statistical skills and the way to do that, I can teach someone in our company and use that as a tool to build a better culture and a more successful company.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of where we're at today. Still looking at additional acquisitions. We're in the process, so we're under contract now for another company to buy, and we'll be going into due diligence. It becomes your second nature and the way of living. So that's where the journey is. And you said, what's the most most recognizable accomplishment I remember? I think one of the first things for a young boy person is to reach a milestone, things that you've been dreaming of for years. I grew up as a kid where my father's friends ran, general managers of Delhi Cloth Mills, DCM, or Birla, or this and that. So my ambition at that time was to have run my own factory or be a company president.
Yeah.
So when first time at the age of 38, I became president of the first company within Sunbeam. I said, okay, this is one of the first milestones in the journey. To now you run a whole business. You know how you have to learn every aspect of it. So it prepares you for owning your own business. You have top line and bottom line accountability. You are responsible for sales. You're responsible for the production, for engineering, for quality, and all of that. So that was probably a turning point in the career.
And that's so interesting though, because some people might think, okay, I'm a president at this point, and this is my, or I've gotten to a final point. But you were taking that as well, I just got launched. So that's just a very inspiring thing to remember. This is my first milestone. There are more milestones to come. So that itself is so inspiring, so motivating.
Well, this was a company that was losing maybe small division, but losing $1 million a year.
Wow.
To come in as a immigrant and beat out others and run it and within a few years turn it into a company that's making several $1 million, you become you start to develop your confidence. You learn to swim with the sharks. You kind of learn to fight the battles. You learn to solve problems. So that's why I consider it an important milestone for me to move ahead and then be able to take risks with my own and our friends and other investor groups' money to be able to fix things, grow things, and make money with it. Or make it success. It's really no longer the money. I don't think it's ever been that I want to make so much money or I made so much money. It's gratifying to see change, to see success. And the great thing about it is that makes you a great motivator for other people.
Yes.
People who are on the bus with you on that journey, they see success, they cheer, they enjoy the camaraderie. And there are people who in my past reach out to me, and people who are still working with me, some of my junior managers or otherwise, who still work with me, invest with me, and some who say, Ray, I learned more from working with you for a few years than I did in my whole life, because I learned how to solve real life problems. And that's gratifying. It's
Yeah.
when you can share your experience and make someone else's life a little bit richer, better. It's a great feeling.
Yeah. And
So
just
today,
listening to you, right? Like just listening to you, the little tidbits you just gave, right? I think one of the big things which is coming out is your open-mindedness, right? Open-mindedness in the sense that you didn't feel or you were not shy in taking that YMCA job, which eventually taught you the accent and everything, right? You did not shy away from going into learning skiing, right? Because everybody was doing so. I think the open-mindedness. The other thing you talked about, how many of us we come to United States and we are trying to just mingle with our Indian group. You are not shying away. You are at this point, you're ready to mingle, open your, again, going back to open-mindedness, you are ready to embrace everybody and move along with them. So those are the things I think in the beginning, if we all can hear that and sort of emulate that, I think that itself is it's a big thing to learn from you.
well, thank you. I hope that, this is, I enjoy, I'm still very active in the IIT
Yes.
Midwest group here.
Yeah.
And we ran the Pan IIT conference here in 2009. I was the conference chair, and there were 150 people around the globe who were working with me on the team to make that a success.
Yeah.
And people still remember that.
That's awesome.
Bill Clinton was on the stage with me. I interviewed him, and this was probably one of the best sold out Pan IIT international events.
Oh, wow.
But again, we're not afraid to take on the challenges, doing new things.
Yeah.
And this is how life should be, is that because things change,
Mm-hmm.
from a mechanical engineer coming in and then becoming an IT manager at some point, and then becoming entrepreneur or whatever you want to call it. Life changes.
Life changes. Yeah.
And at each stage, it's the people you choose to get on the bus with you, the people who you choose to, back you and you back them, make a world of difference. No man is an island. We can't do things alone. Therefore, choosing these good people and making them feel like success and big is makes you a good leader, makes you a good mentor and a good teacher. So I'm enjoying every bit of it.
So, and on
And
enjoyment, I want to hear about Roorkee. I heard like back in the days. So I went in Roorkee 1991 to 1995, but back at that time, culture was changing at Roorkee. But I had heard from my parents and other seniors that back in 70s and 60s, it was a very much a officer culture. You were supposed to behave in a certain way. You were supposed to dress in a certain way. So I want to hear something about that.
but whatever you heard is pretty much true.
Yeah.
This was Roorkee University was Thompson Engineering College before that, and the first engineering college in Asia. And when people graduated from Roorkee, initially they were giving a diploma. When they came out, they had a whatever they call it, public service something division. So, and you had a job right there with your diploma. You had a posting job offered to you as a civil officer of some sort, because that was the need of the time.
Yeah.
And again, moving forward, Roorkee University, Pant Saab, who was the UP governor, chief minister, this was his jewel. And when Nehruji wanted to establish the first IIT, he offered it to Pantji. He would not let it go from his control. As a result, we ended up establishing Kharagpur as the first one, instead of Roorkee having the opportunity to have been there. Yeah. And with the Pantji gone, and over time we got a little bit deprived for funds and so on. And one of my classmates, Pradeep Bajal, in 1983, pushed the campaign. He was communications deputy director at that time. He pushed it at the Ministry of Education for us to become IIT, and we did in that year. So it is Roorkee life, and in my days, our days, was very much a British culture of Thompson Engineering College. People were proud of being called Thomsos. People, we had our blue blazer, I mean, whatever blazer we had with the Roorkee lines on it, the lines you see at the canal,
yes.
right? And at night, you went to the mess hall, you had a blazer on, and the butler saluted you and welcomed you, and you had a veg table and a non-veg table.
Oh, wow.
You got your, dal tadka, you got your, lamb curry or whatever you chose to. It was really good service and really good quality life. And, sports were emphasized. We would have our inter-house competitions in all the sports. And, we hung out at the club a lot, which is where we learned, billiards, and we learned.
Yes, yeah.
Right?
I think what was EC Club, that's what we used to call it.
Right.
Officers Club. Officers Club is all we used to call it. Yes. Yeah.
So we learned and we were required to pass a swimming test. You had to do one lap.
Oh wow.
It was a requirement to graduate.
Oh my goodness.
Just think of this, that the university polished us. Many of us came from little villages or big city, rough boys, good boys, whatever you want. And it polished us, taught us new skills. I never heard of squash until I got there. Learned to play squash, learned to play tennis. We didn't grow up where we had tennis clubs around us, so we could join as members. So the skills to have an open mind come all along the way. Learning these new sports, meeting these people from all these different cultures at Roorkee. I think it becomes second nature to you. Obviously, there were those days of those ragging still going on, hazing, and it used to get a little rough. I think it's pretty much banned now, but subtly, secretly, it still goes on. The quality of food was good. We were proud of our education, and whatever we did there must have been good, because most of us who wanted to come here got accepted at pretty much everywhere they wanted to go. I came to Illinois because it was a budget school, but public school, and I didn't know if I could, afford the Case Western or the any of the other more expensive schools. So you adjust. Those are constant little tweaking adjustments. Other than that, we they had regatta, learning to canoe at the canal. I didn't take part of that. Some of the others did. And let's see what else. We had our annual trips. I think senior year trips.
Yes, after third year we would take, or in the third year we would take a trip. Yes.
Right.
Industrial trip, we call it.
Right. So all those things were fun. You learn to dress well because it you put on a great image to whoever you see. I understand that recently, last time I was at Roorkee for the award, for Distinguished Alumnus Award, and I went to the mess hall. Say it's all self-service. You stand in line to get your food.
Okay.
And no non-veg food. Ministry of Education had kind of a mandate. All IITs were veg only.
Oh,
some kind
wow.
of move. I think they've gone back to offering non-veg now, but I don't think it's any table service or it's still buffet style, get in line. But
Things have changed.
yeah, but I'd say it went so fast, you blink your eyes and you're out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, 4 years gone by so quick, so you're
So
right.
quick.
And especially if you're having fun.
Right, having fun, and then you also have to grind out and get good grades and be in the top percentiles to go ahead up somewhere. And that's what helped us get all this admissions and people accepted our credentials. What also was motivating was we were being taught by professors from Michigan, Illinois, Northwestern. And these people pretty much had an American-like life. Some of those had their cars shipped out, their big vehicles, you know, the Chevys or Fords or whatever they had there. And I said, my God, this is impressive. You know, this is where I want to go. And they all guided us, you know, how to choose a school, where to go, and so on. So life was interesting.
Yeah.
Cultural events.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cultural events, just like they have today, cultural competitions. You know, I played harmonica and a guy from South Africa played bongos with me. So we competed in cultural events. It's been a very enriching experience.
Yeah. So any Mazadar story of Roorkee back then?
No, I wouldn't want to talk about other.
Come on, Risa, what you can share one.
No, I tell you, okay. Most of you haven't heard of it probably, but outside Roorkee, place called Collier, a village of Collier, or Prawn Collier, was an annual event called Prawn Collier Ka Mela. Prawn Collier Mela was professional dancers from all over India. They came, they set up tents, they brought their, you know, Gane Bajane Wala Saj Pura, and they performed in the tents at night, they danced.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so the boys would all get dressed up in fancy silk kurta and churidar pajama and then, you know, great, and go out to impress these ladies.
How far was it from Roorkee?
Not far, rickshaw mein chale jate the hum.
Oh, really? So fast.
Oh, yeah. Pull up Roorkee history and pull up Prawn Collier. My dad knew about it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He
I
was
had not heard.
He was former Christian college graduate from Lahore, and I don't know, even Lahore, the news traveled, and he knew what it was. So anyhow, that was probably one of the spicy things in life as we go, and then, you know, it was fun life. I can't say enough about it.
Yeah. Well, this has been a great talking to you, sir. I just wanted, like, at the end of it, as we end, just want to poke your mind and ask, what advice would you give to us as we settle in either United States or in India or wherever? What advice would you give us as Roorkeeites, so that we can be an inspiration for the next generation as well, just like you are today?
I think you hit it. Having an open mind, reaching out to diverse cultures, people, and not be afraid to try new things, and, you know, be honest to yourself, and go hit it hard. You know, the American life is work hard, play hard. That's what we do here. And to this day, you know, whether it's on the tennis court or ski slope or working, it's still give it all. And, you know, time is the most precious thing. The other thing that I think is helped me is that, and I ask everybody to think about it, whatever the balance in life is, strike your balance between professional, intellectual, between social, between spiritual, and your value set. Strike a balance and have a discipline. So the discipline goes a long way. So if I say that 6 o'clock I have to get up and meditate, 7 o'clock I have to do the yoga, and then from there, if it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever the days is, I have to go play tennis and then be ready and go to work, or whatever my schedule is. It can be evening tennis and morning yoga. But I believe that there's discipline required, routines that people become bound to. I haven't seen too many successful people in corporate or entrepreneur life who don't have that discipline in their routines and doing things. So that becomes important. And learning something new every day, every week becomes a habit.
Mm-hmm.
So I may be the oldest in the group, but I try to learn, okay, there's a technology gap between me and the younger people, but I'm anxious to learn and embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it is, you deal to your strength, but have a discipline of routines and things you stick to that are important to you, and stick to that core principles of whatever it is you want to do, whether it's X number of hours a day of sports, X number of hours a day of family life, and social gatherings. I love social gatherings, and we're known for certain events and parties we do in a year, and people look forward to it. And so there's a balance between your social, cultural, intellectual, and spiritual life that I believe it would be a good pillar of support to them, along with the discipline of doing things.
Okay.
I think beyond that, we all got the technical, professional training we get. We practice that to the best of our ability. Those things are so second nature if we do it.
Yeah.
But having an open mind to meet new people, learning new things, and having discipline, I believe is super important.
Thank you so much. These are just amazing nuggets, right? So remember, again, do not shy away from learning new things. Take any new thing as a challenge and enjoy it. Keep an open mind to meet people, to try new things, have a discipline, try to balance between the different aspects of the life it supports you. So those amazing nuggets. Thank you so much, Rayson.
Thank
This
you,
has been a
Mavi.
pleasure. This has been a
My
pleasure.
pleasure too. And if you're coming here, your brother you said in Buffalo Grove?
Yeah, he lives in Buffalo Grove, yes.
Oh, very good. Let me know so we can host you and meet your brother and do things.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you. You're in Memphis, right?
I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. It's straight 8-hour drive from here to Chicago.
Exactly. Very good. Thank you. Good to meet you on Zoom, and look forward to seeing you.